Okay, here we are back inside MatrixGold once again. Thanks for tuning in. Hope the videos are helping you in your designing process. If they are, please go ahead and smash that subscription button, tap on that notification bell, leave me a like, drop a comment down below, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter. Love to hear from you. Also, if there's something that you think needs to be pointed out as far as this video or other things, just drop them in the comment down below as well. Please, if you have time, share the content. And if you would like, you can donate some coffee to the cause. Down around here, there's a super thanks button, and you can donate some coffee to the cause. Today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to go into the curves. And this is probably kind of getting us started using snaps and trim and other options that we have. But we're going to really talk about add profile to library, and then we're going to design an item with that with that profile, and then also kind of dive into the options that you have once it's made, because we're going to make it fully parametric, and you can change this up into unlimited amount of designs from the one, right? Which is what MatrixGold is all about. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to need to do is get our profile, right? Excuse me. So I'll just grab me well, let's go with, well, first let's change to creation, sorry. Let's go and grab a little arc right here, arc direction, third one down, and we'll just hit F4, so snap it right there in our middle, and we'll kind of bring it out a little bit, and then just hold down shift so it's kind of has a little so we're kind of like a comfort fit, but not entirely, right? Actually, let's just turn on some points here for a second. And I'll just drag this one down just a little bit, something like that. But, you know, the shape is totally up to you. Now, on this here, I want a straight edge. So I have my end snaps on down here. And then you can see it's snapping to that end or snapping to that end. So I'm going to snap right here and just kind of go up a little bit. Draw something like this, perhaps. I don't know if I wanted that tall, so let's go back and redo that. So I'm going to go in here. Well, it doesn't really matter because we can adjust it, right? So we'll go in there. Maybe I want to extend this one out a little bit. So now that I can see that center profile, I want to do a little bit different. So I'm just going to grab that same arc direction, go back, and I'm just going to make it a little bit larger, right? Hold down shift just to give it a little bit more, and they're connected right there, so that's good. All right, and now let's grab a circle from 2 points, and I'll just kind of click here and kind of maybe give it a little, hold down shift and give it a little bump there or whatever. And now let's draw something over here. So let's go over here. Let's make this one straight. You know, you can make this design any way you want. It doesn't really make a difference. And then I'm going to go back to my arc direction there. And then I'll just kind of snap it up in here, take it over to here, and then we'll make something like that, right? So I have a little shape out there I think I kind of want to use or whatever. Now if you wanted to, you could turn on your points, of course, and if you grab all the points in one area, you can drag them both around, right? But so you can alter it a little bit at this point. We're just going to go ahead and keep it for here for right now. And we want to get all this kind of ready, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we could do a trim, you know, select it all and do trimming, or we can come down here also, and just to show this other command that you have, which would be in your from to views non-parametric menu up here in the curves, and we're going to go down here, and actually that's it. No, that's not it. Sorry. It's in our edit tools. I got ahead of myself. Edit tools here, and we'll drop down and we'll pick this curve boolean. So we'll select that. Now it says to select our curves, so we'll just go ahead, select all of them. And I think I have delete input, none. Let's delete input all, right? So we'll get rid of those. Now it says click inside regions to keep, press enter when done, right? So we're going to keep this region, and we'll keep this region, right? and we have a little bit of region right in there, and we'll just go ahead and click that little piece for right now. Right, and then I'll just right click to close that out. Right, so now it deleted all those curves and just left me this. Right, now this is all joined together, but you can see I have a little kink here that maybe I don't want for some, or if you want it, you can just leave it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to explode these real quick. This just kind of show different things. And I have this line now, and I have that circle that we cut, right? So let's make sure. Yeah, okay. So I have this and this piece, right? And we have that little, I want to smooth that out a little bit, right? So again, I'm going to come down here to my edit tools, and I'm going to do a match, right? And what it will do is match these two lines together. We'll go into that a little bit later on, but all I have to do is really select this line here and select this line, and you can see it creates a new line, and it's an average curve. So it takes the average of this curve here and then this curve here and gives me a new line, which is that little line there. If I turn off average curves, it gives me just from the first curve that I select, right? And I think I like that maybe a little bit better. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK on that. So now it kind of switched it back, and it got rid of that little bump there, right? Now it's still in all kinds of separate pieces. So we're going to go ahead and want to join all those together. So we'll just join them together. And well, you need to make sure that there's nothing else out there. So I'm just going to hide this real quick and then bring it back. I went ahead and clicked Rhino in case anything switched over to the Rhino layer. Clicked it on just in case there was a Rhino layer that popped up there that I didn't know about for some reason. I didn't see it pop up, but you never know. Might as well check it. So I have this curve. So this is what we're going to use as our profile, right? So next thing maybe I want to do, I don't know that this is necessary, but let's just go ahead and do it. We're just going to go ahead and center it, right? So now it's in the center of our viewport, right? And maybe we want to go in, this may not be necessary. I think it will automatically do it, but let's just check that seam point. And the seam point's way up here. Let's just take that seam point and we'll just drag it down around here and then hit enter, right? And now that I saw it pop up over here, so there's probably an extra curve, and we do not want that one for sure. So that's on green layer. So let's check this one again. Check that seam point, make sure I get rid of the wrong one, and that's the one I want to keep right there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take that. And then I'm going to just turn off this layer just to make sure. I'm going to take this one and check that seam. Well, I want to check the seam point, not the curve. Seam point, yeah, it's up there. So that's the one I want to get rid of. You don't want anything hidden in a layer because it'll transfer over with the profile. So you just want to make sure you really have only the profile selected when you do this. All right, so we have it. And you can go in there and smooth out, fillet the curves if that's what you want to do. Let's go ahead and do that just to kind of show. So fill it. And that looks pretty good. I'll make it a little bit smaller. Just want a little bit of lip, maybe a little curve on there. And then I'll just go ahead and hit enter, and I'll check it again to make sure it's the only one out there. It looks like it is. So now we have our profile ready, right? So let's go to add profile to library. Click on it. It'll say select a curve to add to the profile library. We'll select this one, and we're going to add it to our profile library and our shank. You have many options here you could add different profiles into. We're going to go ahead and add it into our shank here. And it says try to fix curve, incorrect seam position. We'll just go ahead and hit enter. And I believe it went ahead and fixed the seam point, but we'll find out in 5 seconds here. All right, so we have this. Let's give it a name. Let's say, I don't know, band. Let's band, maybe not. Rail 01. Rail 01 is what we'll call it, and we'll just go ahead and save that, right? And it's been saved to our library. So we'll just go ahead now and just delete this one. Now we'll go to start making our ring, and if you stick around toward the end, we're going to show some crazy stuff at the end on what you can do with this thing. The first part will just be pretty basic, but then we'll level up at the very end. So let's go in here to our tools and grab a ring rail, and we'll just take our, because it's going to be fully parametric, we're not going to have to really worry about it too much. So we'll just go ahead and start it with a size 7. We'll add our profile. We'll go to our profile library, click on it, and it will load all of our profiles up there. And I named it Rail 01, I think. So I'll have to scroll down here to find it. Rail 01 right here. So I'll double click on it and it will throw it out there for us. And you're like, what are you making with something like this? Right? We need to do some manipulation here because we're going to make an eternity band, but we're going to do it a little bit differently than probably what you've seen in past videos. And, you know, it's just a different way. It's not saying it's better. It's not saying it's worse. It's just saying it's a different way. So don't, you know, go crazy on me. I hope. So let's make it 2 millimeter thick rail there. Yeah, let's make it. Let's keep it at 2 millimeter for right now. And our height, let's go ahead and bump it up to 2.5. You already know if you've been watching any of my content, I like things that are pretty durable, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm just going to bump it way over here, something like that, right? And then might as well, instead of doing the sweep and everything, we'll just go ahead and activate our auto sweep right here. So I just click on that button and it automatically sweeps all the way around because I just want it same thickness all the way around. I don't want to add other profiles and make it differently, but you can if you want. And then I'll just right click on that and we'll just give that some shading. So this is what I've got so far, right? And now I'll take this sweep that we just did, go to my transform menu here, and we'll just go ahead and do a parametric mirror, except we want to put it in the X direction, not our Y, and then I'll right click to accept that. So these are tied. So if I move this profile with parametric history, it's going to move this one. They're tied together. And if you watched the last video, you kind of got an idea what all that means and how all that works. So now I have these two rings out here, and we want to make an eternity ring out of this, right? So what we're going to do now is go to our curves, and we're going to go ahead and extract an iso curve. We'll extract it from this side. It doesn't really matter, and it doesn't really matter the position because we just need the curve. And I'll just go ahead and click there. I'm not even going to worry about adjusting it in a certain position, right? And then I'm going to take this curve, and I'm going to select it and go to my transform, and then go to my parametric mirror command. And again, I want to switch it to my X, not my Y. So I have it on that side and I have it on this side, and I'll go ahead and accept that, right? Now, I've just, you know, the reason why we're doing this a little bit differently is to show different commands and a different way of doing it. So we'll go in here and show another command that we have. I think it might have been in one of the earlier videos, but maybe not. But you can also do it with this. So we're going to go to our curves. We're going to go back down here to our curve from two views. Click on that. This is where I got a head before. And go to tween curves, right? So this will put a curve between two other curves. So we'll click on this curve here. We'll click on this curve here, and we have 1. You can change it to the number. We only need 1 because that's where our stones are going to go. And we'll just right click to accept that, right? So now what we're going to do is select this curve, and we're going to go ahead and do gems on that curve, gems on ring rail, right? Gems on curve. So this one here, right? And there's our gemstones. And we'll come over here, our start position 0, and it's going to be the eternity band going all the way around. So we'll just change this from 0.25 to a 1, and they go all the way around, right? Now, of course, it's fully parametric. So, you know, like if those stones are set too low, you can just drag them up. You don't have to worry about that curve and fun trying to get it exactly where you want it. It's already there, right? And you can adjust it from just your gemstones, right? And of course, it's like, well, there's nothing touching there. Well, of course, we need to adjust either our gemstones to come out to be able to be set into our rail, or we find out what stones. We got 93 points there. Let's take it. There's 1 carat. So I know that's exactly 1 carat worth of gemstones, right? And let's see if we can keep it that way by moving space, or if we maybe need to adjust them a little bit more. So if I put 30 in there, it's 1.4, right? Now it's at 1.7. So maybe it's a little, you want to keep it at a 1 carat. You know, this would pretty much be considered 1 carat for the most part, but maybe you want it closer to like 98 or 101 or something. So all we have to do is maybe bump this one down. We got a 96. So a 96 to a 107 is about the closest we're going to be able to get, it looks like. But it gets you really, really close. Let's change that spacing. Okay, so there we go. So we're going to be sitting at about a 96, which would basically be considered pretty much a 1 carat. So that's what we want, right? So I'm going to go ahead and accept that for right now, because we can always adjust it. And as you can see, my stones aren't touching my rail. It's like, oh, no big deal. All you have to do is click on that curve, go over here to your profile placer, and we can now adjust the rails to fit wherever we want on the gemstones, right? So let's bring it in a little bit more, so we have a nice little cut there to hold our gemstones, right? And there we go. And we'll just right click on that to accept that. So we have our gemstones out there. The height looks okay. If you needed to adjust it up or down, you could still do that. No big deal, right? So we'll keep on going. So now we need to connect these 2 rings together some way, right? We don't have that solid piece with a cutter out there, right? And we want to keep it as light as possible. Maybe you know, I could have, when I made this profile, I could have made a little indentation in there to make it a little bit lighter. But there's, I mean, total options, right? You could always go, well, we'll get there in a second. Let's keep moving forward. We'll select our gemstones. We'll go to settings, and we'll just go to under bezels, right? So now it places all our under bezels out there. And for this particular setting, I don't really want any of that dome. You know, it's total personal preference. Again, it's all about your own style, your own taste, your own design type. It's totally up to you. Now we have the stone way down there, or the head way down there at the bottom. We can drag it up as far as we want, you know, depending on how far up you want it. It's totally up to you. And we'll just go ahead and let's see. Yeah, we'll take that. Well, now if you want to make it lighter, you could always bump these up a little bit. You know, 8.5, I would make it a little bit thicker. You know, something like that, maybe 1.2, something like that, just to give it a little bit of thickness. Meat, and we have these rounded already, so we don't have to fillet those. They're already got a little rounded, so it should be comfortable for the finger, and it's a little bit of you know, kind of a comfort fit in some respects. So we have that kind of maybe taken care of. You know, of course, after we print it, we can check it out and see if we like that. If not, we can just drop those down all the way and then cut to rail or something like that. But anyway, let's keep moving forward. There are all kind of options available, right? So let's just go ahead and say this is good for me. This is what I want. I'm looking for. You can do all kind of more modifications. Maybe you don't want to see as much of that rail or whatever. So you want to maybe bump it in a little bit. You know, it's totally, let's grab this here and kind of drag that down. Totally up to you, right? But we'll say this is good. But first, I'm going to go ahead and hide my gemstone just to make sure that my rail, since I dragged it in, it is not touching at my top. And it even if I tried to cast it, it would probably go ahead and bust that out and maybe create a little bit of issue. So let's just go ahead and open that up. Just, well, let's put our stones back out there so we can see. Yeah. Okay, now I'll hide my stones, and we have a little touching there on both sides, right? Okay, so that kind of looks okay, I think. And we'll just go ahead and take that, right? So we have all that. You can make that, thinner or whatever. It's totally, again, personal preference. So we have this. So it's pretty much really done as far as this kind of a style or whatever, you know. But there's all kind of things we can do, right? I'm not going to join everything together and boolean things together just yet. We'll hold off on that. But there are some things before we get going that we might want to go ahead and do. And you definitely want to do the cutters, right? And then we can also get rid of some of that metal. So we'll just go to our cutters. We'll go to gem cutters. And I'll go ahead and turn off my greens because I just need to see my rails here or my under bezels here right at this moment. And I think we can maybe cut that down a little bit as far as thickness. So I'll go in here something like this, thin those out just a little bit, get a little bit less metal or whatever, and we'll just take that. Now I'll go to my solids and we'll do a Boolean difference, right? So I'm going to click on Boolean difference. I'm going to come down here and select all my purple because that's what I want cut. That's what I want cut. And then I'm going to, it says select first surface, press enter. So I'll hit right click and now I'll select all my cutters and then right click, right? And it will make all those cuts for me. And then I'll just right click one more time to close out that curve. And if you saw they were green, that's why they disappeared, and we have green turned off. So we're going to turn it on, right? And now we have everything back. Let's hide those gemstones and see how the cutters. Yeah, see, it's perfect. Well, nothing for me is ever perfect, but it looks okay. It'll work for sure. Okay, so we have that, right? And now, at this point, I think it's probably good to go if you're doing a channel set band. It just really depends on how you want to lay them out. You could move them up a little bit. You can move them down. Everything's going to follow. You could change the size. So let's go to ring rail, edit, and let's just change that ring rail up to a size 9. And you can see everything updates for us. It adds more stones in there, and let's check those stones. And now we're up to 105. And you can readjust those or whatever you want, right? So I'm going to back out of that command. Everything's still parametric, whatever. Let's go back to edit. Let's change it back to size 7 just so we can keep moving forward and show you this next really kind of cool part. And that should drop down. Yeah, there we go. All right. So everything's good to go. Now, we have this one design, right? But if we wanted to change the outside of this ring, we could still always go in here, go to our edit. We could change profiles if we have others that we want to throw up there. We could also go to our editor, right? Go to our editor, and we can start to play around with other options. Maybe you want something like that, so we can play around with this, all kind of crazy different designs or however you're wanting to mess around with it, right? But it's endless possibilities that you can work with and you're changing the entire look of the item, right? So there's lots of options that you can do in there. And if you want to keep this one, say, you just click on the little check mark. If you want to save this one to your profile, you can just save it to your profile library right here. Give it a name. It'll be in there for next time. I'm just going to go ahead and close out of it, and we'll just go back to the original, right? But you have that option, which is really cool. You also, since we're fully parametric, I'll right click out of this, or escape out of it rather. You also have the option of switching gemstones, right? So maybe edit our gemstones. Maybe we want, let's see, where's it at? Okay, round right here. Maybe we don't want round. Maybe we want princess cut, right? So we'll just click on princess cut, and now we have princess cut. And if you look, you can see that all those cuts and everything are now all laid out there, and we can adjust those accordingly to however you need to get it in there. You could do other shapes. You could go to pretty much anything you want. I think they have baguette down here, straight baguettes. You got straight baguettes. and everything should, well, this one might require a little bit more as far as the under bezels go, because maybe they're a little, yeah, you know, the under bezel thickness may be different because of, you know, now they're real thin, so they probably just disappear. You can go back to your edit bezel. Yeah, so under bezel failed to adjust girdle. So our thickness, bottom thickness, let's go ahead and make that a little larger. Kind of play around with those thicknesses. Oh, let's make it, yeah, there we go. Smaller, not thinner, I guess I should say, not thicker. So we'll just kind of play around with these a little bit. It doesn't matter though, because our height we definitely want to change. Let's throw our gemstones back out there because okay, we're good. And I'll just click on it. Now we'll hide our gemstones. And you can see we have purple. If we turn off purple, we have all those little rails out there to hold our baguettes, right? So there's all kind of things that we can do. I'm just going to go back out of this one real quick. That's what I want right there, I think. I think so. I think we're back to the original. Yeah, so you can do all kind of things like that. But not only can you do something like that, let's do something crazy. This is the crazy part we're going to go into on this particular design. Not that some of it hasn't already been crazy enough. Let's go in here and say we'll edit these stones, right? And I don't know. Let's go to edit. And now our start position and our end position are both here at the, you know, the center, end position and our start position. So let's do the end position over here and see if they move around here. Let's take this is a start position. Let's move. I don't want to move my start position. I want that at 0. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this one over here, so maybe we should take it to this side here. Okay, there we go. And we'll do something like that, right? Oh, wrong side. Never mind. I did it the right side originally. Let's take it over to around, I don't know, around here maybe. It's kind of a guessing game to start. So we just drag that in position over so that we have a little gap right there, right? Now what we want to do is we want to go in and grab that spacing, and we want to space them out a little bit more, right? And this is at 6. Let's put that at, well, it's kind of, we'll eyeball it for right now because we can always adjust it. Let's go look at our top view here. Okay, it's right there. That's right there. All right. So let's just say something like this, right? For right now. I mean, you can change it up like this if you wanted to. For some reason, you want more gappage, or, you know, they want more view or whatever. You know, who knows, right? So we'll grab that one. We'll go to gems, and we'll put more gems on there, right? Okay, our start position, we want to move between those two stones, right? Our end position, we want to drag it on around in between these two stones. And then let's take these two stones. Let's just say we want baguettes, right? In between those rounds. So we'll scroll down here and we'll do a straight baguette, right? So now we have a straight baguette. Of course, it's way too big, or the shape is not really where we want it. So let's go in here and do a little manipulation. Let's make it, that one's going to be a little bit, well, let's make it this way. So it goes in and it gets a little cut into our rail, right? Right there. All right. And our placement, maybe you want these a little higher, these a little lower. Maybe you want them the same height. You know, it's just really, you can put them the same height. You could put them down a little lower. It's, you know, all personal preference because we're just playing around with it at this moment. Just start gem. So our spacing, we definitely need to work with, kind of move those in between there. Okay. We're just kind of getting it set up a little bit, right? So this in position, we need to move over a little bit. We're going to use our center stone as kind of our object there, and we have those stones there. Okay, I'm just checking everything out. Let's go ahead and click on that for right now. Let's click these, go back and readjust them. So we want that stone, that end position to be in the center there, right? Okay, it's a little off. There we go. It's getting there. And as you can see, we're starting to get the stones to start to line up between each other. And it takes a little time. And really, if you know your geometry, it's much easier to get those stones to lay out exactly where you want them. I don't think we can. Oh, those are okay. There we go, right there. All right. All right. So we have that. And it looks like our baguette spacing's a little off, so we can go in here and we can do a little bit. We can readjust those. Spacing's a little off in what direction here? So spacing, it's not going to move this one, right? It's going to move all the others to update. So spacing a little bit more. Right, so that it goes around in between those stones, right? All right, I'm just checking it out here. I'm going to make these, I'm going to say, let's put those down just below our rounds, right? That's kind of maybe the look I'm going for. So we have a little bit something like this, right? And if you look around, they're all pretty much you know, round baguette, and it's all pretty well centered in each item, right? And you could actually do this just on 1/2 the ring or 1/4 of the ring and mirror those if you wanted to too. I just prefer to do them all at one time. And now we can go in here and maybe, you know, it just really depends at this point. It's all, you know, it's pretty well set up pretty good. Maybe make those a little bit smaller, so that we have more room. Going to need to do a little bit more of the spacing on the rounds here, which means we'll have to do a little bit more spacing. There we go. On the baguettes as well. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so it's just slightly above our baguettes, so we can set our baguettes first and then go in there and set our rounds because it's a little bit above, you know. And now the last thing we need to do is make sure that we put those under bezels. So let's grab our solids, oh sorry, settings, and go to under bezels, right? Which did I grab? Did I? Okay, under bezel failed because it's too, you know, the same thing, right? Happened. So we'll just make these a little bit smaller. And there we go. We got our bezels in there. And you can change that up. We'll go ahead and bump these up. Maybe a little bit more to get them closer to our rounds. A little down a little bit. There we go. And we'll just go ahead and take that, right? Did I take it or did I click off of it? Oh, turn on purple. There we go. All right, yeah, make sure you don't hide your layers and forget to bring them back on like I just did. Now we'll just go in here and we'll do a cutters, right? And I'll just take, yeah, I'll just take that. And I'm going to go ahead and hide all the green because we just want to see our cutters here. Okay, so let's go back in here. I don't like that dome, right? I'm kind of a weird one on that one. So I'll get rid of that dome. And now we have them down a little bit far, right? So we'll need to play around with the plate position a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and drag them pretty far up in there. All right, let's go ahead and turn green back on, but I'm going to I'm just going to go ahead and accept this for right now, and I'm going to select this one and just hide it. I want to see how these bezels lay out together, right? And I have too much gap here, so I'm going to go back, do another edit, position. Let's go to our front view. It's probably easier. And we'll just kind of bring them down a little bit, something like that. And we need that thickness. So let's back out of that. Let's click it on again. I tried to bring it in and it closes up that gap, so it's not going to work. So if we just bring it down, it'll be fine. So it's right there, right? So we'll click on that. And as you can see, our stones are just a little bit lower than our others, our rounds. Just kind of a different look. You could even drop them down much further if you wanted to, you know, or you could have them the same width. You just have to adjust everything a little bit differently. So now at this point, what we can do is we can go to our solids, go to our Boolean difference, select all our purple. That's going to be cut, hit enter by our cutters and hit enter, and then enter again. And now let's hide those gemstones real quick, and we can kind of see the cutouts, and we're good to go. Those are okay. Let's bring back our rails. So now we have everything in there. You can also change those baguettes to princess cuts or ovals, or the rounds to different ones. I mean, it just really is totally personal preference, right? So now we have everything cut out kind of where we want it and everything. The last thing that you might want to do, which you probably should, is one, either go ahead, select it all and go to manufacturing and do a mesh repair, which will, you know, give you a one piece item ready for printing. Or I just like to make sure, and it keeps my skills up maybe a little bit. That rail looks, make sure you know, our gap right there. So let's go back in here, not our balloon, our bezel, right? So we're hovering over it, it's highlighting, so that's the one we want. I'm just going to go in here. Oh, that's our cutters. Is it cutters? Under bezel, edit. Okay, so where's my handle? There's my handle. I am going to make it just a little bit lengthwise. I want to make it the lengthwise a little bit further. Let's see. Where's my handle? Let's hide. So let's go back, grab, give it some shading, hide our green here. There we go. Oh, okay. So we need to perhaps make these baguettes just a little longer. And then we'll right click. And let's turn everything back on. Let's turn those gemstones off. Yeah, there we go. And let's turn that back on. And it kind of goes in there a little bit further than what I like. Let's baguettes. Really depends on the size baguette I guess you're using. Let's click on that. Yeah, it goes in there now. Yeah, okay. At least it looks like it does. Check it out. Make sure. I mean, take your time. Make sure. Yeah, it goes in there. Okay, we're good. All right, so we have that all set up. Let's turn our gemstones back on. So now at this point, it's just Boolean everything together, right? So we'll go ahead and hide our gemstones. We'll go to solids. We'll go to a union, right? We went to Boolean union this with all of these bezels, right? And we'll take that, right click, bring it back, Boolean all this with these bezels, hit enter. And it has to do all these and this rail, so it might take a few seconds. Let's try it again. This right click, these right click, and there you go. And the last thing we need to do is right click, this right click, this right click. And there's our ring, and it should be a close poly surface, which it is. So it's watertight, ready to go. All you do is put your sprues on it and you are good to go. And you've got a little baguette round band out there that is fully parametric. And you can continue. Maybe you want spacing, more spacing between the rounds and the baguettes. You could just go back in there, select your rounds, right? You really want to do all this part before you do all that bullion, because it's going to take a lot longer to do those bullions again. So after I move them and I, go ahead and accept, it's got to go back and do all that bullion work and to move them around and everything. So usually it's a better idea to get it all set up before you bullion it all together. But again, it could be just personal preference. If you don't mind waiting the little extra time or whatever. And we'll just take that, see what that looks like. So now you have a little bit, maybe you want to work on that start. Got to move that start over, right? There we go. And maybe we have to work with that end. Yeah. And it's still not totally right in the center there, I don't think. So let's start position. Yeah, there we go. It's updating. Yeah. And now for our end position, maybe we want to move it over just a little. Wait for it to update. But you can see how much control you have over everything. So we'll just go ahead and say that's good. Check our spacing. Our spacing's off. So again, it's just minute adjustments. And this one you want, after you get these two, your start and end set up, it's just a matter of doing your spacing here, where you want that spacing to pop in at, so that those other stones are going to drop right there in the middle. And then just go back and edit between your gemstones, right? So let's go back in here, edit our start, our end position. Let's move that over a little. We want it right there in the center. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. It's playing around with the two and getting them exactly where you want them. And you can always do the spacing if the spacing's not working out. Go back just a little. I just wanted to pinch. There we go. Yeah, a little bit more, maybe. Let's go back to our baguettes. Move our baguettes. Our start and end position. Do they look okay? No, they don't, do they? So let's move the start and end position with our baguettes, and that should close up some of those areas. And our end position, let's move it over. Yeah, I'm just being picky at this point. I mean, but you want to be, right? And then you can go back and adjust the spacing between the two. Keep going back and forth until you get exactly what you want. Yeah. Right. Best place to look is the bottom. Just see how the bottom is, how it's loading out. But there you go. I mean, in a nutshell, right? And you still have a closed poly surface and it's all ready to go. Next thing would be is maybe we want to go in here and do a render, right? So we'll just go to our render tab right here in our quick commands. Give it a second to load up. And everything's all green, so our render's loaded. What I normally do is go to documents right away and go to materials, only show materials in use, and click on those. And I just delete these. I just want to start fresh, right? So I'll select the green. I'll go to materials and we'll put it in a white gold 14K, and we'll apply that. And now these stones, maybe I want gemstones, so diamonds. So you go to ray traced or diamond. I'll just do diamond real quick and go in here. And the next thing I'll do is go to my documents, materials, and right here I want to click this preview render button right there, right? And have that clicked on, right? So next thing I'll do is grab my baguettes. I'm going to go down here and let's say we want those to be emeralds. Sure, why not? Oh, emerald channel set, that would be fun. My jeweler would love me for that. Let's do ruby. Got a hardness of 9 on that. So we'll go ahead and apply those. And the next thing would be go to documents, go to your ruby and make sure that preview box is checked. And we can preview it by right clicking in our tab, going to ray traced and just kind of seeing what kind of image we're going to get. Right. So let's turn off that row. And there you go. Right. And you can adjust lights and all that, which we'll talk about much later. But now we have a little round and baguette, ruby baguette kind of ring going on here, right? And you can change those stones all over the place. You can move the rails in, make them bigger, smaller, change the outside rail, everything, anything you want to do with it, you have the ability to do. So let's just close that out. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit different look and different insight on how to design things. And basically the real thing is add profile to library, and you can go crazy on those, man. Just make a ton of them real quick and save them all to your library, and then anytime you need to use them, you've got them, you're good to go. So thanks for watching. Good designing. Please share the content, hit like, and see you next time.